Bill Gates had a best friend in high school. By Gates's own account, this friend was the smartest student in the entire class. Smarter than Bill himself, just as obsessed with computers, just as ambitious, just as driven. If you ask the average viewer of this video to name the co-founders of Microsoft, almost everyone will say Bill Gates and Paul Allen. Almost no one knows the name of the third member of that gang. And his story is one of the most haunting illustrations of risk in the entire field of finance. His name was Kent Evans. Morgan Housel introduces Kent in Chapter 2 of The Psychology of Money, the same chapter where he tells the Bill Gates story. Kent and Bill became best friends in 8th grade. They talked, in Gates's own words, on the phone ridiculous amounts. Decades later, in the documentary Inside Bill's Brain, Gates says he still remembers Kent's phone number. Kent was as skilled with computers as Bill and Paul Allen, possibly more so. The teachers at Lakeside once gave Bill and Kent, both still children, a real engineering problem. Build a software program to handle the school's class schedule. Hundreds of students, dozens of teachers, conflicting time slots. They built it. It worked. But Kent's relationship with Bill went deeper than computers. Unlike Paul Allen, Kent shared Bill's business mind. Kent always had the big briefcase, Gates remembers, like a lawyer's briefcase. He was already thinking like an executive at 15, and the two of them were already planning the future. Should we go be CEOs? Should we go be generals, ambassadors? Whatever it was, they were going to do it together. Then Gates trails off in his interviews when he talks about it. Quote, "We would have kept working together. I'm sure we would have gone to college together." Housel writes the line plainly, Kent could have been a founding partner of Microsoft alongside Bill Gates and Paul Allen. But it never happened. Kent died in a mountaineering accident before he graduated from high school. Housel notes the math. There are roughly 36 mountaineering deaths in the United States in any given year. The odds of being killed on a mountain while still in high school are approximately 1 in a million. Bill Gates experienced 1 in a million luck by ending up at Lakeside. Kent Evans experienced 1 in a million risk by never getting to finish what he and Gates set out to build. The exact same force, the exact same magnitude, working in opposite directions. Housel's framing of this story is the central thesis of his entire chapter on luck and risk. Luck and risk are siblings. They are both the reality that every outcome in life is guided by forces other than individual effort. You cannot believe in one without equally respecting the other. And here is the line that should be on every investor's wall. Housel writes that the accidental impact of actions outside of your control can be more consequential than the ones you consciously take. Read that again. The accidents in your life, the things that just happened to you, that you did not choose, that no plan could have prevented, can matter more than every careful decision you ever make. Most finance writing pretends this is not true. Housel insists that it is. Most personal finance content gets risk badly wrong, and Kent's story is what shows you why. Standard finance advice treats risk as something you choose. What is your risk tolerance? Position sizing, diversification, asset allocation, all useful, but it is a fundamentally narrow view because it assumes the only risks are the ones you knowingly take. The Kent Evans story is a different category of risk, what Housel calls events outside your control. A serious medical event that drains your savings, a divorce, a parent who needs care, a natural disaster, a war in your region, the collapse of an entire job sector you happened to work in. None of these appear in any portfolio risk tolerance questionnaire. None of them are about choosing the wrong stock. Think of one person you know who lost a job in the last year, not because of performance, but because their entire industry changed. That isn't a personal failure, that's a Kent Evans risk, and no portfolio rebalancing was going to prevent it. These risks are the dominant financial risks for most working investors today. They have nothing to do with your portfolio. They have everything to do with your life. This is why we believe the most important word in personal finance is not alpha, it is redundancy. Redundancy in your savings, redundancy in your career skills, redundancy in your social network, redundancy in your insurances. I know this is heavier than the usual Finance Channel material. Stay with it. The implication is hopeful. A single accident, totally outside your control, can erase any plan. Your real job as an investor is to build a financial life that survives at least one such accident, and ideally, several. 3 concrete things you can start working on right now. 1. Build a real emergency fund. 6 months of essential expenses in cash in a high-interest savings account. This is not investing. It is the moat that lets your investing survive a Kent Evans event. 2. Diversify your income streams when you can. A side income, even a small one, is a structural insurance policy. The events that take out one income stream rarely take out 2 simultaneously. 3. Buy your boring insurances. Health insurance. Term life if anyone depends on you. Disability cover if your job requires your body. These are the cheapest hedges against catastrophic risk you can ever buy, and they are the ones most people skip because the math feels boring. Boring is the entire point. You cannot eliminate the Kent Evans risks. Nobody can. But you can make sure that when one of them eventually arrives in your life, and one will, you do not lose your financial future along with everything else. If this episode landed heavier than usual, that's the right reaction. Hit subscribe so the next one finds you. And the next in the series is one of the most absurd financial scenes in the entire book. A genuine technology genius, a man whose patent sits inside almost every Wi-Fi router in the world, once handed his hotel valet several $1,000s in cash to buy $1,000 gold coins. He skipped them across the Pacific Ocean for fun. He went broke. We'll see you in the next Yield Tales episode.